We saw this in this morning and in the Sunday school when we were talking about Father Abraham in his great test. I mean, after God had spoke to him and promised him a seed, promised him a son, and he waited and received the promise of God once he was 100 years old. And after he got to enjoy the blessings of that child and to relax in the promise, the one who he had pinned his hopes and dreams in, after approximately 125 years had passed, God said, I want him. Give him to me. Sacrifice him. Offer him up. That thing that you've been waiting for, that you've longed for, that you wanted so badly. After you've finally gotten it, after you finally receive it, I want it. Will you say yes then? Or will you try to negotiate? Will you say, Lord, this can't be you? Will you go rebuking the devil and saying the devil is a liar? Or will you just submit and obey? Will you just do like Father Abraham and get up early in the morning? Say, Lord, you said it. You told me to take him, and you're going to show me the spot to offer him up. The scriptures are silent. It doesn't show you where Abraham tried to negotiate with God. Now, we saw what he did in the case of Sodom and Gomorrah when he was interceding and trying to, Lord, please, and I know you were going to do right, and you wouldn't slay the innocent with the wicked, and he negotiated and he interceded. But when it came down to his very own son, knowing what God asked of him, someone who he cared about so dearly, he just said yes. He saddled the asses. He went out and clave the wood himself. Because sometimes when these things are near and dear to you and personal, you say, I'm going to do this myself. I can't entrust this to anybody else. I'm going to cut every piece of wood and just right. And I'm going to pack it just right. I know what I got to do. And you're feeling every bit of it. I remember when I had my own firm and one of my assistants said, well, why don't you just let so-and-so write all the checks? I said, no, I need to write everyone. I need to feel this pain. Every time a dime leaves here, I need to feel it. I said, I want to personally sign every one. I want to see it all. I want to handwrite it. Took her a while for me to be able to print the checks. I still had to sign them, but at first I was handwriting every one of them. I said, because it's that personal to me. So I saw Father Abraham said, I got to cut this wood myself. I'm going to carry the fire. I'm going to carry the knife. I'm going to say yes to God as I go through this process. Trusting and believing that God has a plan in all of this. Knowing that he made me a promise. See, if it had not been for the promise, Abraham would have had more difficulty saying yes. But God had promised him that through his seed, all the nations of the world would be blessed. He said that Isaac was the child of promise. And it was in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And God had made promises and spoken over Isaac. So he knew if God was asking him now to offer him up, that somehow God had to raise him from the dead and give him back to me. God has made us promises. And he's saying, won't you trust me enough to bring it to pass? Why are you trying to fight me and hold on to stuff that I'm trying to get out your hands? Why won't you just say yes? Why won't you just yield? Why won't you just go ahead and saddle the asses? Why won't you just set out early in the morning to do what I told you to do? Why are you still debating it? Still trying to negotiate with me? Why won't you just say yes? You see, when you look at this thing, when you look at Abraham's story, you know, clearly this was no light thing. In our Sunday school lesson, it says Abraham's great test. See, oftentimes when God is asking for yes, it's yes over something that's near and dear. It's a test of obedience. It's a test of your faith. It's a test on, do you really trust him? See, when you say yes, God, that's yes, I trust you. What if it costs me everything? Yes, I trust you. What if you ask me for that thing I've been holding on and wanting for so long and so bad? Lord, I still trust you. You know, will you trust me enough to pay your tithes? Will you trust me enough to give an offering when you're looking at your bills due? When the man of God come to you saying, yeah, bake me a little bit first before you give it to your son. And I know you said you don't have enough, but just give me some first. Will you trust me enough then? Or will you look at him and say, you done lost your mind? I done told you it ain't even enough for me. And you want some of that? Devil is a liar. Or will you just say yes? Will you do what he said when it don't make any sense to you? See, we all caught up in our own abilities to reason and our own senses. We start to say, it got to make sense, child. Child, if it don't make no sense, then clearly I ain't supposed to do that. We got to rationalize and reason it out. And the only thing we really should be asking is, did God say it? Has God asked me for it? Am I just going to say yes to God? Would you be like the poor widow who only had her 2 mites and say, Lord, it's all I got, but I'll give it to you. I'll give all. I'll say yes. Or will you be like that rich young ruler that when God asks you to sell all you got and give it to the poor and come follow me, you start saying, I don't know about all that. You know, I got to think on that for a minute. Surely you don't want it all now. You know, I got to have enough to live, and I got responsibilities, and you start rationalizing and justifying why you should not have to obey. And God says, enough of your earthly reasoning. He said, my thoughts are not like your thoughts. My ways are not like your ways. He said, you can't figure out God with everything that he's doing. You have a limited view, a limited perspective. You can't see everything that God sees. You don't know everything that is already set up. My wife referenced this wonderful little picture that we saw where it was Jesus standing, leaning over, talking to this child. And this child was standing in front of Jesus, and he was clutching his little teddy bear. And Jesus had one hand out, as if to say, may I have the teddy bear? To see if the child would say yes. And holding behind his back was a huge teddy bear that he was going to give the child. And it was to say, if you trust me enough to release what you hold and love so dear to me, I'll bless you beyond your wildest imagination. But the child had to trust him. He had to be willing to say that even if I lose everything I got, the thing that I hold so dear, because you asked, I'm willing to give it. Because you told me to go this way, I'm willing to go. Because it's what you asked of me, what you require of me, I'm willing to do it. I'll just say yes. I don't understand it. The child looking up, you too big to play with a little teddy bear. What you want it for? Now, how many times have you had interactions with a young child and they playing with something and you say, can I have it? Some of them looking at you like, for what? But there are always that little trusting soul who will go ahead and give it to you. And when they do, you want to just bless them out of their little socks, don't you? That's how God is. So will you trust me with the thing that you love so dearly? Are you willing to give it to me? That includes careers, reputations, finances, loved ones. Will you give it up? Will you just give it to me? You think I got this. I can handle this. This is separate and apart from that. You know, I'm all right over here. Lord, I can relate to you over here, but this other thing over here, I got this. He said, no, I want all of you. Not just some of you, all of you. You see, I remember I had in my mind, I said, well, when I first, they said, son, give your life to Christ. I know you worried about all the things that you want to do. He said, you can accomplish more as an attorney, as everything, if you just give it to God. I said, that sounds good. Just, but I'm doing kind of all right, and I think I'm handling this. But there's certain areas that I believe God can improve on, and yeah. And finally, you get to a place in certain aspects of your life where you say, I don't even want to try to think about this anymore. I just want to give it to God. And you're ready to give up certain aspects of your life. But then there's still certain things that you believe, I'm handling this, I got this. So, yeah, I can give up, my personal life, my religious life, yes, God first in my life and first in my family and all that stuff that we doing. And, yeah, but I'm all right over here. I got this. And he's saying, won't you trust me with that? Won't you give me the keys to that room too? Why are you locking certain doors and keeping me out of certain places? Why won't you let me in everything? Why won't you say yes to me in all aspects of your life and your existence? You still trying to say I can handle this and I got this and I'm doing all right over here, and them church folk don't need to know nothing about this stuff over here, and I got this over here. And he's saying, why won't you trust me with it all? He says, I want you to say yes. Completely yes. We used to sing the song, yes, Lord, completely yes. My soul says yes. Not just yes for some things, yes part of the way, but completely yes. He says, I want yes. Some of us, we pride ourselves. Now, I say some of this stuff is just for me. But some of us, we pride ourselves over the time that we've spent in building and developing, whether it be careers or reputations or all this other stuff. And we say, well, thank God that he's allowed me to do these things. But, to a certain extent, we like to believe that our own hand has been helping us and guiding us through a lot of this stuff. And that we worked hard and we suffered, and you know how we do. We done put our time in and all this stuff. And God says, will you give that to me? The whole thing. Because when you get into the real world, they start talking about branding and marketing, and you yourself, you have a brand, and what people think about you and your own personal brand. And he says, will you give the brand to me? I don't, we see these precious saints. They got one persona when it comes down to the church and the things of God, and then another persona when it comes down to their profession. And in their minds, the two things don't ever have to meet. And he starts saying, why is that? Why is it that the folk at your job or in your office or in your career don't know about the God you serve? Why isn't it a part of your brand that you are a child of God? Why are you trying to keep things separate when they don't need to be? I want to be in everything. I want people to look at you and see me, so I can be glorified in your life. When people see your accomplishments, they understand that it's not just you. It's because you are a child of the Most High God. It has nothing to do with how hard you worked, how much you suffered. It has nothing to do with your preparation. It's all because you are favored. You are a child of God. That it's by his grace and his mercy. Yes, he's enabled you to prepare. He's enabled you to achieve and to accomplish. But all of it is because of the blessings of God. And you can declare that if it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, where would I be? I wouldn't have been able to accomplish half of the things, almost none of the things that I've been able to accomplish. Why won't I just say yes? Why won't I just give it up? In our thinking, it's why is there still this tug and pull going on? You see, we see an example. Sometimes God says, I want you to do something. I mean, turn with me to the book of Jonah. This is classic. Now, we all know that Jonah was a prophet. Jonah was a man of God. But somehow, Jonah got in his mind that he had the right to tell God no. Now, we start off with the first chapter and the first verse. It says, now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. Then it says, but Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. So rather than doing what God told him to do, rather than just simply saying yes, Jonah said, I ain't doing that. I'm going the opposite direction. Now, one thing we know about our God, he has given us a free will. He will not violate our free will. As someone put it, God won't make you do anything, but he'll make you wish you had her. You see, he didn't make Jonah go to Nineveh. But when he got through with Jonah, Jonah wished he had her gone. And said, Lord, please let me go. I'll do what you will. And the question you got to ask yourself, what are you going to have to go through before you willing to say yes to God? You see, it's best if you just say yes right away. It's when he asks you to do something, it's best to just say yes. It's best to just give it. But if you don't, he's not going to make you. But he'll make you wish you had her. It's like, I remember I was listening to a message by T.D. Jakes. He said sometimes it's called the great beatdown. Says when God get through, after you've been beat down so much, you get to that place, yes, Lord, anything you say, Lord. Because you done been through. Says, what do you have to experience before you'll say yes to God? How much do you have to go through before you just say, Lord, I can't do it. I just give it up. I turn it over to you. You've been trying to handle it. You've been saying, I got this. What do you have to go through? How much loss do you have to incur? How much things do you need to suffer before you're willing to say, Lord, I turn it all over to you? I don't know what to do in this matter. I don't know how to make it. That child that you hold so dear, Lord, I don't know what to do. Just save my child. See, before, you thought, I'm going to raise them. I'm going to rear them. Now you get to the point they done got a little size. They ain't listening to you anyway. Doing anything they big enough to do. They done went from being on your hand to on your heart. Will you turn them over to God now? Saying, Lord, I can't save them, only you can. You see, if you had turned them over earlier, you would have gotten a lot more sleep. Rather than worrying some of those sleepless nights you had. That's why it says, oh, what needless things we bear, all because we do not carry everything to the Lord in prayer. That we just turn it over to God. If we just say yes right away, some of this stuff we wouldn't need to suffer. We wouldn't need to bear it and go through it. We all stressed out over that job. If you had just given it and turned it over to God, saying, Lord, I thank you for the blessing of the job. Now I'm depending on you to help me to perform it, to help me be successful. I don't want to say thank you for the job. I got this now. I need to say, yes, Lord. You gave it to me. Enable me to keep it, to be successful with it. Let me be able to bring you glory in it. Let me be a light for you. Let people look at me and look at my life and see you and glorify you. Let me not be ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Let me be able to tell folk that it's because of God that I'm here. Let me just say yes. You see, so Jonah was like, nah, I'm not going. God sent a storm. Seas got rough. Boat being tossed by the wind and the waves. All of a sudden, the people start saying, something ain't right about this. Y'all better call on your gods. Jonah down in the bottom of the ship sleep. They walk up on Jonah, what meanest thou? Why are you down here sleeping? You need to be praying. What's going on? Jonah had to come clean. It's because of me, because I've been running from the presence of my God. It's because I'm out of place. It's because I'm out of position. It's because I didn't say yes that this harm has come. See, sometimes storms come in order to get you back on track. You got to say to yourself, some of these storms that have come in my life, I caused this storm to come. See, some storms just come to test you and have you trust God through it. But sometimes a storm comes to force you to correct your course. And you have to determine what kind of storm is this. Lord, am I doing what you want me to do? Lord, am I submitting to you and making sure that I stay in your will? Because I know that if I'm in your will and doing what you want me to do, that whatever storm comes, it can't prevent me from getting to my expected end. If you told me to go over to the other side and you with me here on the boat, no matter the storm, I know I'm safe in your arms, safe with you, that you're going to take me through it. I'm going to get to the other side and have an expected end. But now, if I'm not in your will, if I'm headed to Tarshish, this storm may cause me to be cast into the belly of a great whale. You got to say to yourself, why is the storm here? And am I doing what God told me to do? See, some of us rebuking the storm and blaming the devil, and God saying, nah, the devil ain't got nothing to do with this. You brought this on. It's just like the children of Israel when they would start sinning and all of a sudden disobeying God, and next thing you know, a different nation would rise up to afflict them. And God would use those people to chastise Israel to get them back on track. After they had done wickedly, sometimes he would use the Philistines. He would use different ones to get them back on track. So you got to say to yourself, okay, Lord, right now I'm going through a situation. I got some things, whether it's financial or whatever. Okay, am I causing this? Is there something I'm supposed to be doing? I have to examine myself. Have I totally submitted to you? Have I yielded? Have I allowed you in everything? Have I put you first? Have I said, Lord, it's your will, it's your way? I just say yes to you. If it's that, then Lord, whatever this is, you're going to take me through it. But if there's something I need to be doing, if this thing is coming to cause me to have a mid-course correction, Lord, let me see it. Let me understand it. Let me correct whatever needs to be correct. Let me open whatever door that I've locked to you and allow you to get in it. Here's the keys to every room. I just say yes. Completely yes. Yes, Lord. Yes to your will. Yes to your way. Even Jesus said, not my will, but thy will be done. After he initially tried to say, Lord, if there be any other kind of way, let this cup pass. Then he said, not my will, but thy will be done. He had to get to, I can't bargain. I can't negotiate. I got to just, Lord, it's your will. Whatever you want. I don't know why we still think we can play let's make a deal with God. You know, we used to do that when we were sinners. Lord, if you do this for me, you know, I'll go to church. If you get me out of this, I'll put a special offering in. If you do such and such, all that, let's make a deal, God. And God starts saying, I just want you to say yes and come and How much do you got to go through before you just willing to yield? You've seen these in some of these physical contests, these fights. It's like there is they want a submission hold. They want to get to the place where the guy either say, I give up, throw in the towel, I tap out, I yield. See, you don't want to have God put you in a submission hold. You don't want to have to get to a place where you feel like life is about to take me out. I got to tap out. Lord, I can't make it. You don't want to get to that place. Just start off by saying, Lord, it's your world. It's all about you. I just want to do what you want me to do. You know, everything that I have, you blessed me with. Every talent and ability that I have, you gave it to me. I want to just use it as you intended for it to be used. Help me to reach my full potential. Help me to achieve what you want me to achieve. It's all about you. Let me check my ego. Rein in my own ambition. Lord, give me the desires of my heart. Now, I say that to say, don't just give me what I want. Let me know what I should be desiring. Because I don't even know what I should be praying for. That's why I need the Spirit to help my infirmities. To make intercession for me. To ask for things that I don't even know that I should be asking for. I mean, look at Brother Joseph. While he's in the pit, he don't know what he should be asking for. All he knows is I want to get out the pit. I'm trying to go back to be with my brothers and with my father. He don't know what he should be asking for, and God's trying to get him to Egypt. So he can save the lives of his brothers and his father. And make sure that his family continues. Here he is, he's in Potiphar's house. Oh, Joseph, no, I'm kind of doing all right. I still want to go back to be with my brothers and my father. And God trying to get him before Pharaoh. To get him before Pharaoh, God sends him to prison. Now, if you, Joseph, you ain't praying to go to prison. You thinking I'm going in the wrong direction. And God's saying, if you just say yes, if you trust me, I'll lead you, I'll guide you, I'll order your steps. And before you know it, you'll go from the pit to the palace. You'll go from being, just having a coat of many colors to having royal robes. Folk, 1 minute they were looking at you in prison, the next minute everybody saying bow the knee. But you got to trust me in the process. You can't fight me on it. You can't negotiate with me because you don't know what you're negotiating for. You don't see the big picture yet. Just say yes. Yield. Submit. Obey. Just say yes. Completely yes. Give it all to Jesus. Surrender. We sing the song, I surrender all. All to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. Did you really mean it, or were you just singing a song? You see, many of the psalmists, they got it right. Yes, Lord, completely yes. I surrender all. You know, they got it right. We got to get it from just being a song to being our reality. Lord, I surrender all. I mean it. There's nothing I feel like I got. Everything that I'm doing, if you do it and you're involved with it and you're leading me and guiding me, I know I'll do it better. And I'll get to where you are trying to take me. I surrender all. Yes, Lord. That's what he wants. He wants us to say yes. Amen? Praise God.